Fox weather correspondent Robert Ray leads our coverage from Rolling Fork, Mississippi this morning. Robert.
Good morning to you. And you could see as the sun is not up here in the Mississippi Delta and the piles of debris literally everywhere. This is concrete from a structure right below where I'm walking on, a vehicle that is smashed in, another vehicle up top with the aluminum that is wrapped around, and all of these trees and homes in this neighborhood. As I come down here, guys, and take a look, if you can, at some of the video from around here that we shot. Just amazing stories of people that have gone through literally hell. The tornado that came into here, into Rolling Fork, Mississippi in the Delta, about 8 p.m. Central on Friday night. There is no electricity here. There is just a sense of sadness and hell that people have gone through in this town of just under 2,000. We've spoken to many on the ground. Let's listen to what one person told us.
When I went in the closet and it snatched the door back open and pulled me out, I heard the roof coming off. Nah, I didn't even go down there when they told me she had got killed. I didn't even go. She stayed in a mobile home. I didn't even go. I didn't want to see it.
25 people have lost their lives in the state of Mississippi, one in Alabama, and it is block after block that you see the insides of people's homes, a stovetop in other areas, and we'll show you this as the sun comes up. All around here, we are surrounded by what was a neighborhood, homes, now just slabs. There are people's belongings, children's school books, people's photo albums, dresses and clothes, jeans hanging from trees that were blown by this tornado. This tornado lasted for dozens of miles, and to consider, 1.5 miles wide. The destruction. National Weather Service is giving it a preliminary rating of an EF4. That means winds exceeding 165 miles per hour. This outbreak on Friday night, nocturnal tornadoes that came through the deep south. This is literally every single week since Christmas. This area has gone through some sort of severe weather outbreak. And sure enough, as spring came upon us, absolute destruction in this region. Not a good situation, as emergency officials are still searching through rubble. Aid groups are piling in here, giving water, food, and other items to the people of the Mississippi Delta. The federal government is giving support. The state is on the ground, NGOs, and we will just wait until the sun comes up here today as day 2 in the aftermath of this terrible, deadly destruction here in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Back to you.
Robert, the Mississippi Delta, one of the poorest areas of this country. We learned yesterday that Rolling Fork's a town of about 1,800, as you just mentioned, 1.5 mile wide tornado. I have to ask, what's left of Rolling Fork?
I have to tell you, I came in here last night about an hour before sunset, flew in from Atlanta, and, you know, I've been on the ground in multiple tornadoes. Joplin, Missouri, Tuscaloosa in 2011, some of the most historic, deadly tornadoes America has seen in recent times. And I will say, there's not a whole lot left here. There is City Hall in the darkness to my right, your left. Part of it is standing. Of course, part of it is crumbled as well. But this is a town that when you drive through, you realize there's not a lot left. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be a rebuild. Though, as you mentioned, one of the poorest areas in all of America, the challenges are going to be paramount moving forward.
And Robert, real quick, we know there was some notice, and you said there's been a lot of severe weather down there, but there were, in some cases, minutes notice of exactly where it would hit. So most people that are there hunker down in their homes, right? So you've got a whole community of people who spent a night of sheer terror.
Absolutely. I spoke to one woman last night, and she told me that they just got into their bathtub at the last second. And she described it as about a minute or two of fury, noises she's never heard before, fear she's never felt before. And I asked her, I said, when it was over, when you felt like you could move out of your bathtub and you walked out, what did you experience? And her words were darkness, darkness and sounds that I've never heard. You know, sirens in the distance, alarms going off. And she walked out of her home where the roof was taken off and brick walls collapsed. And she walked out with her family and looked around and really couldn't get a grasp for scenes like this because they weren't lit and all the power was out. But she knew that what had just went over this town had destroyed it. And sure enough, when I spoke to her, she sat gazing at her house yesterday in complete and utter shock. Look, this is really traumatic, and the shock is still very much a part of what's going on. It's going to be like this for weeks. And then people are going to have to look at, okay, so my town is gone. Where do I go? Where do I live? Where do I work? And how do I move forward? Devastating.
A lot for them to deal with in the next coming weeks. And we're glad that you're there. And we will continue to tell this story throughout the morning and in the weeks to come.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.